Ooh, let me go grab my Dremel tool. What up, Pope? Okay. We've got a few things to do. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to do stuff today, so let's just, let's get into it. Yeah. So a key thing for today, and the crackle paste dried pretty well. I don't know if I'll be able to get you guys to see it because it's white. You can kind of see the crackling. It's very thin crackling. That's the thing that golden does, is very thin, fine crackles. And I kind of like it for what I use it on, but it's not good for everything. What's up, Sindri? So we finally built the second rhino, so we can actually work on the other rhino being a predator instead. Because of the whole magnetism stuff, and I think the predator is good in the system that I'm building it for. But yeah, we got Mauler Fiend, which actually is going to require me to do a little bit of work with magnets, I think. Because originally my plan was to use the tendrils. I thought the tendrils would be, the way to go with it. But the more I think about it, originally the thing I thought was good about them was, lasher tendrils, extra attacks. I had a little thought at one point where I was like, oh, well, is it 2 lasher tendrils? Because that's 14 extra attacks. The Vashdor list gives you +2 to your attacks in melee, but extra attacks do not take benefits like that. They do not get pluses or minuses. They are always what they are. There's no way to ever increase or even, I think, decrease them. They are always what they are. So instead of it becoming 9, it stays 7. And the lasher tendrils are still like a single thing. It's not like there's 2 sets of lasher tendrils, which is what I was hoping for. Right? Meanwhile, you can replace the lashers with meltas, which you just, you attach like this, apparently. Like, the picture is just straight up, like, they kind of face underneath kind of deal. And for 1 lasher, you get 2 of these. 6-inch range, 2 shots per, 3+ to hit, strength 9. So in the Vashdor list, what this means is if Vash is near them, these become strength 10. That's great against most mid-tier tanks. The Vashdor benefit gives them +1 to wound rolls. So against like basic stuff, that's really nice. But against like monsters and things, you'll be wounding on 5s with 4 shots, most likely. But then you'll take it to a 4 instead. Which is better, I think. And even without the Melta bonus, it's still like AP4, D6 damage. I think this is more viable because you can kind of like prime a target preemptively with wounds and then get in on it with the melee, which is basically like 7 las cannon shots or whatever. Like, I think for him it's 6 normal and then 8 with the Vashdor enhancement. So you kind of like double Vash the unit, which is not what you want to do. Because it's -1 to the leadership when you take it. But still, it's like, oh, well, I do a preemptive D6, and then I get in and I try to melee the thing with basically just a bunch of las cannon shots that are close range. I think that might be the way to go, but I'm not sure. The strength increase does help the Lasher Tendrils, which does put it at strength 8, which is great into toughness 4 units. The problem is most toughness 4 units have 2 wounds, and the Lasher Tendrils are only single wound. So you can't just like tech to 1-tap a Space Marine. What's up, Michael? So yeah, I think I want to try to magnetize. I think we're going to try to magnetize the 2 different options here. But in order to do that, I think we're going to use the extremely tiny magnet. So I got to kind of pick the right size Dremel for this. Strength increase from Vash being nearby does affect melee as well as ranged. But he has to be within 6 inches. So like, it's kind of hard to position him well to make sure the melee gets it. It's a lot easier to position him to get the range to the benefit. Dremel tool. It's been a while since I've busted this thing out. But yeah, how's everyone doing? You guys doing all right? I wanted to paint the bases on these Venom crawlers, but they're still a little wet. Specifically, the sand grain in some areas. I can feel it shifting under my finger, so I don't really want to push them right now. You can clean some stuff off, though. This excess crap. But the crackle paste looks good on this. No, it's not the biggest anti-tank answer I have, but it's a good one. It's a really good one. Technically, the answer I have for infantry are the Venom crawlers, because that's like 12 shots per, and they're basically autocannons. Philly Tourney was okay. It was fun because it was a lot of new people, so playing into them was like an interesting experience. The trick was it was too quick, right? Doing 2-hour rounds at 1,500 points, not good. It's just not good. And on top of that, the terrain we were all playing on was vastly in favor of long-range shooty armies. It was so, like, there was nowhere to hide. I think I posted pictures of it in the Discord, I want to say. Let me double check. But every map was basically full-size map, 3 very small pieces of terrain on the far, basically the long sides, right? So you have the long sides of the map, and there were just 3 pieces of terrain along each side of the long sides, and they were all very small. So I couldn't hide Magnus anywhere. There's nowhere to hide Magnus. My rhinos couldn't hide, or my 1 rhino couldn't hide. None of my cultists had terrain in the middle of the field to hide behind to hold points on. Like, my list was built for Leviathan, right? Like, it's built for Leviathan. And I just played a match that had like no terrain on the field at all. Did I? Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I posted my scores. So I won my first game 51-29. Like I absolutely annihilated this guy. He was a brand new kid to the game. And like he wasn't really going for scoring. So I basically outscored him for like 2 turns, 3 turns, and then just kept going that way. I lost to the next guy 14-22 because we made it to, I think, the first round. No, we made it to the end of round 3, but he was like an all tank IG list, all those Vanquisher cannons and stuff. Like that's what he went. So I couldn't hide anything, and he was basically just every turn rolling 100 dice and killing something. So like I can't fight that. That's just an impossible fight. I failed a 5-inch charge in turn 1, which would have changed everything. I had 2 of his tanks bracketed, and then I was gonna go kill 2 of his scouts, and then I was gonna freaking consolidate into another tank after the fact and just be in his face with a full health Magnus after wiping some stuff out. But I failed the 5-inch charge. Everything he had shot at me, remarked everything. It was over. It It was over the whole, like, in that moment, in that first turn fail of a 5-inch charge. Even if I made that 5-inch charge, it was an uphill battle. Massive uphill battle. Because, like, if you can't hide against Imperial Guard, you're going to lose. And then there was a Tau player there as well. Like, literally, there were these two armies that were just like, yeah, we're really good on open maps. And it's like, oh, cool. I went mid-ranged. Let's lose, I guess. And then I lost to I think I beat the Blood Angels guy, but I was so burned out in round 3 that I wasn't really tracking my score well. I'd have to sit down and manually write the score out. But seriously, 2-hour rounds, I only had one game that went to round 4. And then when we were in round 4, the guards, basically the security for the convention, came by and were like, you have 5 minutes to pack your stuff up and get the hell out. I was like, oh, Jesus. It was bad. The thing is, I was wondering about that because I was like, this seems a little rough. Like, I don't know how this kind of worked to the point where, like, everyone thought this was okay. But then I was talking to the guy the next day because no one showed up for the Underworlds tournament because their system, they didn't put the link in the event to sign up for it. So I wanted to do it, but I couldn't sign up for it. And when I got there, they were like, no one signed up for it. I was like, yeah, because we couldn't. There was no sign up button, and they were like, oh no. I found out that basically, I'm trying to find a good bit for this. Basically, a month before the tournament, or a month before the convention, the guy who originally ran the 40K tournaments bailed. He was like, I can't do it this year, like a month before. So the convention turned to these guys and were like, hey, could you run it? And they were like, sure. So they kind of had like no time to prepare. They didn't have anywhere near enough terrain, but they wanted to do like a big tournament. So I think the 40K tournament, they were like, dude, if we have this many tables, we could do a 64-man tournament. And that'd be cool. And they only got 10 people. Honestly, the moment they got 10 people, they probably should have like adjusted the terrain on the maps to be better, because there were all these empty tables that just had tons of terrain. But yeah, they said they're probably going to do it next year, which means they'll have more time to plan and advertise and all that stuff. It could have been good. I think this convention is a good place for this tournament, because a lot of 40K tournaments are starting to get tied in with big conventions for other things, like comic book conventions and stuff. So a big video game convention and gaming convention in general, because that has a lot of tabletop presence. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Legends of Evantris, but they were there for their Crooked Moon game. The Crooked Moon, it's like a game, but it's like a module. The Crooked Moon module that they're trying to put out. So they were there hanging out like this convention is trying to make tabletop and board games and stuff, viable, like a part of it. It used to just be video games. Now they're trying to expand, which is, I think, pretty good. Plug this in down here. I didn't know what their process was, so I didn't want to just grab it. I did in one of the rounds. Okay, so the second round when I was playing against the Imperial Guard guy, they put me on a table where the terrain, there wasn't a single piece of terrain that was bigger than this. All the terrain would fit on this base in like the middle. I think the average size of the terrain was probably Venom Crawler sized. And there was 3 along my side and 3 along his side. And he had, I'm hoping his list was right. I don't know enough about IG to make it work, but I swear to God, he had like 5 Vanquisher cannon tanks with plasma cannons. But that might have just been me, like seeing them wrong. I don't know. He was new, and he had this system in his head that he thought would work for how to play, and the way he did it. The issue is I wish we had more time because I could explain to him why what he was doing was wrong. But in 2 hours and having to play against Imperial Guard who take 45 minutes every shooting phase to do that, I needed to bring my friggin' chess clock. Like, I needed it. Because he would have been timed out on the chess clock turn 1. Honestly. Like, he would have been timed out. I think we're gonna do the magnet at the top in here. Like if we do the magnet like there, then we can keep this hole, which is what's used by these things to be in the right position. And then we just have to magnetize. So we only need a little bit because these are tiny magnets. I don't think that's enough. I'm probably have to make some green stuff for this too, just to solidify it properly. But like it was okay. What they did was okay, I think. For last minute. And it would be good next year to put like more effort in, get more terrain, do it. I just don't know if they've personally run 40K tournaments because they were like, it's a Leviathan tournament. Pry Nexus had been out for a week. Everyone was assuming Pry Nexus, which I had everything just in case they were like, oh yeah, we're actually going to do Pry Nexus. But I was also kind of assuming that the tables were going to be set up in Leviathan format because they said it was a Leviathan tournament. And I was used to, at that point, I've done a couple Leviathan specific tournaments. So I already know what the layouts are. I already know what the terrain focus is. I kind of knew what all that was. And then to be approached with, this isn't that. And then to have to, we randomly drew missions every round. We randomly drew. So not everyone was playing the same missions, which if you're familiar with how balance works, that doesn't really work that well, especially if I draw missions that are massively against my my team comp and for like the first round, and then everyone else gets like really good ones for their team comps. I'm basically going to be outscored no matter what. So it's a whole thing, but like it was enjoyable to get out and try some stuff. People that were there, again, all new. They were all really new. And part of me wanted to like stop the tournament and be like, all right, look, I'd rather do this as a tournament boot camp than just like playing games that we hope work out. Because, okay, so the second IG guy I played against, he rolled all of his dice at the same time for every gun on a single vehicle. Now, some of you in chat might know that that's a very bad idea because it gives me, the player, the opponent, the target, the full knowledge of what's coming to be able to then go, oh, well, what in there is a solid 3 damage? I'm going to put that on my 2 damage, my 2 health bodyguards so that they absorb it before it gets to my 5 health leader. Like, I wanted to explain this to him, but I had not enough time. And he was already taking forever to shoot. So if I told him to slow down his rolls, we would have only made it to turn 1. Leviathan and Pariah Nexus is the tournament tier rules. The tournament tier listing and rules. In 40K, let me get this hole drilled real quick. Clean them up. In 40K, there is like the core rules. There's the core setup that you can, you know, do and take part in where it's just like, oh, it's a simple mission. We'll tell you how you score during the mission, and that's about it. And then there's Leviathan. And if you're new to the whole scene, I can go to my bag real quick. I can grab some stuff for you in a second, but basically Games Workshop has moved into the realm of using cards, which I actually really like, to create a randomly generatable rule system. But when you're playing in tournament tier, the goal of tournament tier, let me grab these. Yeah. Is this a secondaries? Okay. The goal of tournament tier is to make the mission as functionally balanced as possible. It doesn't mean it's completely balanced, but it's functionally balanced. So, they release decks of cards, which are basically like competitive seasons, sort of like balance patches for video games and stuff like that, where you randomly draw like a mission rule. Let me actually, because this is super bright white, turn this down for you. So you draw a mission rule, which usually changes how the game's played, gives you extra command points, makes it impossible to deep strike onto core objectives and stuff like that. You get one of these. Sometimes the one that you get is literally like nothing. There's no extra rule or anything. That's usually what happens in Leviathan. Then you get a primary mission. This is how you score your main mission points. These are all different. So it selects one of these for what your mission, what you're supposed to do is. King of the Hill, kill more, basically 40K football, which is moving a point back and forth on the map. And then it gives you your setup, your actual board setup that has objective markers, their locations, where you're able to place units at the beginning of the game. This is how, oh, primary mission, I gotta move that. This is how the games are sort of set up. And then, once you get the core mission, which those cards, that's what those cards are, is the core mission. While you're playing, you, as a player, have to complete secondary missions. You can either choose to, based on like a symbol here, or you can randomly draw over the course of the entire game. And it'll be like, hey, kill characters. If you kill a character, you get points. And then the card goes away, or you have to keep killing characters if you're holding on to it. So you draw these for bonus score, basically. And Pariah Nexus just dropped 2 weeks ago, which is basically the season 2 of the current edition we're in. And a lot of people were like, oh yeah, all tournaments are doing Pariah Nexus. So that I messaged them, I was like, are we doing Pariah Nexus? And they were like, nope, we're doing Leviathan. So I was like, oh, okay, at the very least, I'll know what the terrain looks like, because they do release pamphlets with the different modes that go, hey, this is how terrain is supposed to look, which, for the sake of people in here being new and maybe not knowing what I am talking about, let me pull this up for you all. Because the tournament companion for Pariah Nexus is actually on their website. Right monitor. Feed. So this is the module that goes on top of the core rules, basically. It tells you how you run the missions. Mustering armies, determining the missions, reading, placing objective markers, creating the battlefield, blah. Like, that's what all this is, okay? It gives you extra abilities that aren't part of the normal core rules and all this. It just gives you all that. It tells you the limits to your scoring. It tells you how all the cards in the deck work, secret missions, how the actions work. It gets very explicit to the overall game. It also tells you any changes. Literally day one, the decks came out. They are changed some of the rules. Like, this can't be fixed. This is not a fixed mission anymore. You have to draw into this. Stuff like that. But what's terrain is this. So this is how tournaments are supposed to be played. Let's say like round 1 is B, okay? So round 1 would be B. You'd be using Purge the Foe, Mirrors, Tipping Point. Those are your rules. And then the terrain layout, event organizer, it will be any of these. So like, it's here. This will be the map. Here's the terrain that you can't see through. This is vehicles through. These are not joined pieces of terrain in here, stuff like that. That's what was not part of the tournament. Basically what the these size may understand. Because there was anyone going, oh, base 1,000 suns. 1,000 suns army. You need to be within 24 or 12 inches of your opponent damage. This is nowhere near 20 across. 36 is usually good for this, but because then you could sit back here and shoot all the way here, which is what he got to sit here and shoot everything on the cover. But still getting robotic. Is it being robotic? I might be hitting it with my pocket. I need to put it somewhere else. But yeah. So I was getting screwed over in just general location. I'm gonna restart my microphone. Hopefully that works. But yeah, it's just that I got like positioning. I just got screwed over. It was just 3 and then 3 and it was just bad. Let me know if my microphone's acting up. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I need to get my other microphone here so I don't have to use my wireless. Or maybe I can use that like new wireless one I keep seeing everywhere that looks really good. Bluetooth, rechargeable. But yeah, the train was bad. Turn 1 and game 1, game 2. Game 3, the train was good, but I made some huge misplays, so. Massive misplays in those games. Which I do. Like when I burn out, I get bloodlusty. Like I'm not supposed to be in close range kind of situation, but for some reason I keep wanting to be in close range when I'm tired. Okay. Let's figure this out. Which magnet works best here? The hole is a bit bigger than the magnet that I thought I was going to use. Maybe this magnet will be good. Yeah, no problem. Dude, I love these games. I love 40K, I love Underworlds, I love Kill Team. And for people who are kind of like getting into it or maybe wanting to learn about it, I am... Oh no. I am completely fine taking the time to like run you guys through some stuff to see if maybe like you'll have that moment of just like, oh dude, I'm gonna go grab a box. I mean, different isn't always bad. My entry point into all of this, I stopped playing 40K in 5th edition. So 2004, 2005, something around that time, or I think it might have been a little after, because I think when I got back from college, I was playing at one of the local spots for a little bit. But basically, 5th edition was where I ended. And I came back because I don't know, man. I've been trying to get excited about some of the stuff going on in like general games and things, but it all started feeling really samey. And I just got to a point where I was like, I kind of want to just, you know, go back to sort of like old school, actually have to go see people to be able to, you know, play against them and stuff. Like I wanted to be at a place to be like, all right, let's play games here. This is gonna be hard. I can feel it already. This is a weird way to magnetize, but Yeah, it is actually sized for the small. The issue is how do we put the small in and keep it in without... Oh, it is perfectly sized for the small. Yeah. So the big change, like, it's all very different, I agree. I actually like the difference, because what we used to do back in the day was, it was all about lethality. The missions really didn't matter. Because the game was so high on lethality that you could table your opponent in 2 turns. That was just a thing. If you got initiative and vision on your opponent in turn 1, you were going to kill so much of their stuff that they couldn't kill you. The entire premise of the game in that moment, as you probably remember, let me see if I have, was oh, I have tanks and anti-tank weaponry. You have tanks and anti-tank weaponry. In turn 1, if I shoot all of your anti-tank weaponry and kill it, you can no longer kill my tanks. And therefore, I have free reign on the field. That's literally how everyone local to me played. That's how we did it. That was the game for us, was just, oh yeah, I have anti-tank weaponry. I'm going to kill your tanks and all of your anti-tank stuff, and then I'm going to just have free reign. Because you're not going to be able to do anything to me. And that's what we did. That was every game that I played back in 5th. And I won a ton of them because that's how I built my army. Just plasma cannons, friggin' defiler, ordnance, just everything I had on the field was massive lethality. And I would just crush opponents' teams that way. And if I didn't get turn 1, most of my stuff would get crushed, and it's like, well, there we are. That's the game. What am I looking for? I need some kind of palette. Yeah, Dark Eldar, Tau. That's what my friend did with his Tau. That's what my friend did with his Eldar. My one buddy did it with his Tyranids. Like, his whole purpose with his Tyranids was to get in on you in turn 1 and then just crush you. Because he had all those lictors and stuff that would just pop out of stealth and just rush in on people. That was the game. And it's massively different now in, I think, an incredibly positive way. Because it takes so much to kill some of the stuff in this game. It takes so much that there is value in picking targets, having really good positioning. Yeah. I made people quit like mid-game with my army because I'd get the initiative roll and they'd be like, oh, well, good thing some of my stuff's hidden. And I'd go, good thing I bought the upgrades on all of my defilers for indirect fire. And good thing I'm really good at guessing distances. And I was insanely good at guessing distances. Like, I would drop pie plates dead center on people's squads. There was nothing they could do about it. I would wipe whole squads out, friggin' vehicles, all of it in 1 turn. And just be like, all right, what are you gonna do? You can't kill any of my dreadnoughts. You can't kill any of my defilers. They are already halfway across the field and they are melee gods. Like, you're going to lose this fight. And you lost turn 1. And I do really like the new system. I like it. Because you get more game, honestly. You have more moments of, like, turnaround and potential, like, just crazy stuff. Which is exactly what this game needed. Because even up until the end of 9th, I watched a game from 9th edition. I watched a stream of a game from 9th edition. It was an AdMech player. And that AdMech player had a bunch of those planes, the aircraft units. He tabled his opponent in 1 turn. Like, actually a thing. He just tabled his opponent in a single turn. God, this is going to be really hard to pull off. It's kind of why I came back playing Kill Team first, because I sort of assumed that we were going to be experiencing the same kind of thing, right? Detachments. That's 9th edition, though. There's, like, no detachments anymore. Oh, no. Where's my rubber brush? There it is. So this is a brush with a rubber tip on it that I use for usually adjusting green stuff or trying to move magnets that have glue on them, so that I don't actually pull the magnet anywhere. I just, you know, deal with the glue. I'll try to seal it in with some more glue. Yeah, we're on 10th edition now, Joseph, which is actually a lot easier than 9th. Like, if you had a problem learning detachments, 10th edition is like, don't worry, bro. 10th edition's rules, you need one character that's considered your warlord. You can only take 3 of any one type of unit unless it's battle line, at which point you can take 6. And that's it. There's your rules. You don't even need troops anymore. There's no requirements. The only requirement is 1 leader. That is all you need now. They threw everything else out the window. They were like, screw that. We don't need that anymore. We're not going to force you to take battle line if you think it makes your army weak. We're not going to force you to go any one, like, odd direction for the sake of, like, trying to get you to purchase, I guess, models of a specific type. They want you to just play at this point. I'm gonna try to shove another magnet onto this side to balance it out. Phone call. But yeah, I'm basically trying to sort out just making sure I have the bulk of a collection done so that, like, as rules change, I can just adapt my teams and stuff. What's cool is I'm figuring out fun crossovers, because I love Thousand Suns, but they're not always what I want to play. And Thousand Suns use Tzeentch Demons, so I have access to that. And a lot of my models have crossover with Chaos Space Marines. So when the Chaos Space Marine Codex dropped, I actually picked it up and I bought a couple extra units beyond what I normally would. Like, for instance, those Venom Crawlers I have. The Thousand Suns do not get access to Venom Crawlers, sadly. We are apparently possibly getting another Automaton model, but that's neither here nor there. But I painted them to look a lot like how my Thousand Suns would look. That way I can use them with the rest of the stuff I have already built for my Thousand Suns. So I'm able to dip into all the Chaos Space Marine Codex goodies. I'm able to dip into the Thousand Suns stuff. I'm able to dip into Tzeentch Demons a bit. I don't have 2,000 points of demons. I also have a full Chaos Knights army that I can pull from for Thousand Suns or Chaos if I want. Or even, yeah, Chaos Space Marines or Demons. What's up, Arturo? So yeah, I just, you know, you get to play around. I am putting magnets in the side of my Mauler Fiend. We just put the glue on. I'm gonna hope it holds. Because the idea is I want to magnetize, once this dries a bit, I want to magnetize these to be able to go into them, and these as well. Because I want to be able to switch between Meltas and Lasher Tendrils. Because I don't quite know which one I really want to use in this army, but I think it'll be good to change. Because, like, for the Forge Fiends, we have the Hades autocannons, but, like, I was looking at the Hades autocannons, and I was like, I kind of just want to go with the plasma cannons, honestly. Like, I actually solidly glued the plasmas on after a while, because I was like, I never use the Hades, and I need something that's hard anti-tank as well as anti-elite. So we went with... So we decided to go with the, let me figure out. It's got to go, like, slightly forward, I think. So we got to go with the plasma cannons over Hades. So that's why I glued them. But these are a bit more useful in their difference. Now I just got to line up the polarities. Yes. What most people say is if you really want the mounts to not remove the magnet, yeah, that's a pull, so it's the far side. If you really want a mount to not like pull out the magnet, use green stuff and glue at the same time. I kind of upgraded what I've been using for glue to this E6000 stuff. It seems to hold a lot better. So this is the top side. Because it kind of melts everything together, right? It is very chemical. Look at that. Look how smooth. It's so good. Yes. Gale Force sells it, and of course other companies like I got this stuff because it's basically an epoxy. It's meant to sort of solidify stuff, so people usually make like a small ball and then apply the magnet to it. They'll do this to the bottoms, right? I put down E6000 and this stuff holds. Like the one that I tried it out on, I put too strong of a magnet under it and it touched the metal on the thing that I've got. You put like a little dab of glue kind of on the magnet and then you shove the magnet into the green stuff is the way that a lot of people locally do it because the chemicals just like burn everything together. Let me try to get more E6000 on this thing. Yeah, I've just been using E6000 because I went to an art store and I was like, I need to glue magnets to plastic and have them not break off if they touch metal. And the guy was like, E6000. Don't get it in your eyes. And that's how you know it's good. When they got to warn you about the eyes. Ta-da. Nice. It all just holds. So that side's good. Gotta make sure we get this side just as good. So it's a little high, but not quite high. Oh, pewter. Oh. Oh, the days of pewter. I mean, you know. Dude. One of the greatest models I've ever hated was the old Lord of Change, the pewter Lord of Change, because his body was shaped like a peanut and the legs had little like concave domes that were supposed to wrap around the peanut to hold the middle section up. There wasn't a game that I went to. Like, I would put them in a box and I'd be like, all right, this will be fine. And then I'd get to the game and I'd open the box and the top half of his body would be next to the base and the legs would just be sitting there every single time. No, yeah, you want to do, so for that type of stuff, you probably want to like sculpt things. Like you're making it look like the top of a hill. Let me show you, there's a custom base that exists for the Helldrake because the Helldrake kind of sucks with attaching to bases. This is probably one of the coolest bases that I was thinking of buying. It's like 40 bucks. And I wonder if it would work for you if there was like something very similar. Full screen. Check that out. Normally it's a clear plastic thing that goes from the base to the vehicle. But people were like, yo, let's just make it look like it's burning everything. And apparently there's a ton of flight stands that look like fire. So like you could almost have a flight stand that is just a pile of fire or smoke going up to your vehicle and then you just glue it in on the point. As long as you get the heights right. No, yeah, the whole thing was you wanted a, back in the day, you wanted a Dremel, you wanted a pretty thick gauge wire, and then you would just pin everything, because dear God, pewter sucked. Pewter sucked so much. All right, let's figure, did I get glue all over my forearm? No, we're good. Let's figure out how to get this one set. Is it pushing? It's pushing, so this side has to go in the hole. This is actually kind of the better way to do this. What up, Steel? Yeah, I was a kid. I didn't have a Dremel tool. I had to make do with what I had. And so I just basically just glued everything. I remember the first time I built stuff, my dad was trying to help me out at the time with this type of stuff. So he was like, oh, what kind of, because my dad, I feel like, my dad was an accountant, but I feel like he really wanted to be like a builder or something, or like a craftsman. My dad apparently was making, just randomly, he was making a, what was it? Stained glass windows. Like for a time in his life, he actually knew how to make stained glass windows, and he was just doing it randomly to see if he could, you know, make some cool stuff. So when I got into this, my dad was like kind of interested at first because it was like building and, you know, kind of solving engineering problems. So he got really into that idea. And I remember I bought a box of models and he was like, all right, let's figure out what kind of glue works for this. So we went to an art store. Rather than buy the plastic or whatever craft glue they had at the store we bought the models from, he was like, let's go get better glue. So we went to an art store and we bought industrial strength epoxy. Industrial strength epoxy. The stuff smelled so chemical when we were using it that like we had to open every window in the house. It was so bad. And it took like 2 hours to cure. Oh, speak of the devil. Hang on, phone call. There we go. Got my new phone in. I'll go pick it up. Perfect. Look at that. Perfect magnet attachment. Now we just let that dry. And we got to do the same thing with these. This side is this. We got to be a bit specific as to the location. It's kind of like right there. But okay, so epoxy would take 2 hours to cure, but it wouldn't like melt stuff together. And at the time I was gluing together Chaos Space Marines, which were plastic arms, pewter bodies, heads, and legs. So I would go to games, right? My box would be in the car. It would be really hot. I'd get to the game. I'd pull the stuff out. And then as I was setting it down, the arms and just the arms would all fall apart. Like they would just fall off the side of the pewter because I didn't pin anything. It was crazy. E6000. Comes in one of these tubes. It seems to do well. I have been re-gluing the magnets into the bases of my models like every time I move them. And now I just put a little E6000 down and then I put the magnet on it, and the one that screwed up was attached to the metal platform. Like it was so perfectly sized under the model I glued it to that it actually touched the steel cookie sheet. So when I picked it up, it wouldn't let go. I had to put like an edge of a knife under the one side and then pry it. And the whole time I was prying it, you were hearing the glue like, no, bro, I'm holding. It was just the whole time. It was so crazy powerful, and I'm happy with it. As long as you don't let the magnets touch the steel cookie sheets you attach them to, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. All right, let's figure out what polarity this is. Go get my new phone later. It'll probably be a short stream, but as long as I can get the magnetized mechanics of this together, I'm happy. That pushes, that's good. Solidify it on with more glue. Let it sit. What up, 30R? Geez, a lot of people coming out of the woodwork today. Neat. Hopefully I get a new video out for you guys by Wednesday. I got the script written for it. It's the data slate for Kill Team. It's just going to be an overview of the changes, stuff like that. I know it's a very late video, but literally Games Workshop dropped the data slate the day before I left for a convention. It was like that night that I saw it, and I was like, it was over. I just couldn't do it. I wasn't going to stay up till like 4 in the morning making that video. And I live in the UD area, Delaware, pretty much. I mean, I live at a point in Delaware where I basically live in Maryland and PA. If that pulls, I'm gonna try to flip it. Because I want it to push. No. No, let go. Okay, good. I mean, if that's in PA, that could be like 100 miles away from here. See where you are. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's 2.5. It's 2.5 to 3 hour distance from here. But yeah. We were just at a convention down in Philly. That's where that was. That's where the tournament was. What was my latest Kill Team video? I thought my latest video, well, okay, so my latest Kill Team video would have been, I think, before my Castigator video. Or did I do... Actually, let me just take a look. How to kill... Oh, choosing units. Yeah. Choosing units is rough. Like, I keep seeing people who were kind of mad at me for doing the roster building video and then them expecting it to be like, oh, I wanted you to tell me exactly which units I should pick for every army or every squad so that I could have maximum capacity for victory. And it's like, that's not how this works. That is just not at all how this game works. I mean, if you want that, then play Gellerpox. Play Elicidian. Like, play the people who don't get to shift too much. Because that's all you're gonna be able to do, is just play the lists that are self-limiting. I gotta cut this a little bit here. There we go. Because that was a thing, it was something I remember from when I got into it. And I remember people like, can you roll a crit and all them putting forward the math to be like, look, you always take a plasma gun. Always take a plasma gun. Don't take Melta, take plasma. And then my thought was like, do you want me to take plasma into close quarters? Where it's not going to be as effective? Is that the goal? Like that was my first thought, and I was like, I don't think teams or my own personal squads that I play. I play cults a lot, but I mean, that's kind of just a broken mess. I like Votann. I haven't played them yet, though. I gotta find some tournaments nearby, because I want to get back into Kill Team. I want to start playing a lot of Kill Team. 40k is great. I love playing 40k, and the local community is huge into it. A lot of the local stores that I go to, though, the Discords I'm in, they keep posting images of the kill teams they are recently purchasing and getting ready to play Kill Team with. So I'm like, dude, pull the trigger. Let's do it. Let's start a league. I will go to that store once a week, and we can play like we can have 6 people show up, and we can just play a bunch of different games. It'll be great. I want to do it. I prefer, okay, when I play elites in 40k or Kill Team or anything, it's because I want to play a game quickly and I don't want to think too much. Like, that's actually why I do that. If I play elites on Kill Team, I'm playing Legionary. I like my Legionary. But for the most part, I would prefer playing Wormblade. I would prefer playing stuff along those lines. But I always end up playing like Warp Coven and Hyrotech and Legionary, which are more elite in team format. I do, however, and I'm going to talk about this in the video that I hopefully can get out either tomorrow or Thursday. I do like the changes they did to the scouts. They added an extra scout, and then they increased melee damage per... Actually, that's actually a big thing. Where's my box with the scouts in it? Oh, it's still in back. I need to see which scouts I have, because they made the hunter knife really good. And I don't know if I have like a warrior with a hunter knife, which kind of sucks. Let me take a look at this real quick. So it is set up so that this only works on one side. I didn't get the polarity to work universally. That's because I kind of rushed it. But yeah, check it out. Meltas. You can just pop them out. I don't want to put these in yet because the glue is definitely drying still on them. So the tendrils should be set. Intercessors are, yeah, I mean, I consider the intercessors like the training wheels army. I mean, that's not to try to like downplay them as an army, but like the sheer amount of health they have and the kind of universality of their abilities, it's like you don't really have to think too hard. Wormblade, you have to think way too much because you have basically 2 units that are your big efficiency units and then 1 weapon that is the one thing you don't want to lose. Everything else is fodder to you. Just do it. Just use it however you want. It is all fodder. But like, you need to protect 1 weapon and you need to maximize the efficiency of 2 elite units. And it's so hard to do. But I love it. I love it for it. They're great. I love the change to Legionary too that we're going to talk about. No longer do you have to, for competitive events, no longer do you have to limit your list building down to 3 total marks, undivided, and then 2 pantheons. Instead, you can now have a spread of stuff in your roster building, so you can technically adjust based on what you know. Like if you know your enemy is too weak for the corn melee thing to matter, maybe you switch into Slanesh for the extra move distance, like that kind of stuff, which is really cool. What do we do? Are these dry yet? Outside of this, I could grab my Rhino and all the other parts for it and try to finish the magnetization of that. That might actually be important. But let me see, because these are still kind of wet. Feels dry now. It was a little wet earlier. Oh no, that's still wet. That is very wet. Okay, probably another day. I don't want to paint into it when it's wet like that. I don't think I need the Dremel tool for what we're about to do, but we'll hold on to it. Let these dry over here. Let me grab the parts. Where is... There it is. Legionaries, no. Legionaries have actually been nerfed like 4 times. Because consistently, they're just good. Okay, so we need this. We need this. We need these. Yeah, legionaries are just consistently good. Dude, back then they were so strong because they would massively reduce their opponent's damage, which, okay, so here's the issue. They were so strong that the only counter that existed to them was Legionary. Like, genuinely. And I think Pathfinders could deal with them. But there are so many armies or so many squads that exist in Kill Team that do not have huge damage output. They're more meant to be a little bit more tactical. They're more meant to chip away at enemies and try to stay out of range. But the Intercessors just frickin' pile drive through them. So in a tournament scene where there's enough Intercessors to go around, you have this issue of a whole cross-section of teams were unable to score highly anymore. Like, the moment they saw there were Intercessors, they were like, well, I'm going to be fighting for a bottom slot is basically what I'm going to be fighting for. Which sucked. Like, you couldn't deal with it. And so they had to reduce a lot of the damage mitigation and the potential for speed and ability to just outright kill things. They really had to die that down. Because technically the Intercessors aren't damage spiky. They're really not. They're good. They have like good kind of slathered mid-tier damage. But just the fact that it takes like 2 turns to kill 1 Intercessor on average is so insane. For like most armies that can't deal with that. So they did have to get honed in. I kind of like where they are now because I always have issues when an army is explicitly good in one direction to the point where you don't want to build anything else, right? There's almost value in trying to make sure you can take a full list of melee. Like, going into close quarters with full lists of melee isn't a bad idea. Especially against teams that are more melee-centric. No, yeah. The Intercessors were one of the key reasons why Games Workshop changed their opinion on damage mitigation. If you follow the data slates, you'll find that a lot... Oh, this might actually be kind of hard to do. You'll find that a lot of the rules changes around the time the Intercessors came into play was, oh, this damage mitigation thing that reduces damage, we don't want it to reduce damage fully. We now want to reduce it to a minimum. The minimum was like 2 for a bit. And then they were like, that's still really bad because minimum of 2 makes these armies over here that have damage of 3 weapons feel like garbage versus like a melting gun or something that they can't even take. So we need to reduce it to 3. So reducing minimum damage reduction to 3 basically allowed all the weaker armies to still exist and still produce the quality that they can, versus making it so that armies like the Kasserkin or stuff like that suddenly have to think more, I guess, on exactly how they're going to approach that fight, knowing that their enemy is going to reduce their damages. Kasserkin are freaking insane, too. I have Kasserkin. I thought they were insane before. Like, I knew that Kasserkin were the kind of army where if you didn't achieve your goal in the one turn that you wanted to try to achieve your goal in, you're dead. Like, it was over. But they basically, over time, made it so that, like, if you fail at your goal that turn, you've still got time. It's so weird. It's so weird to see how powerful they are, and, like, no one really plays them. They're just so good. I mean, okay, so that's the thing. Rapid used... Oh, where did the... Oh, here they are. Rapid used to not be the goal. It used to just be, I think, durable and methodical was the idea, because methodical used to make it so that injury didn't change your ballistic skill. So you basically had full tilt damage the whole time. Even when you were taking damage, you were still just chucking damage at people at full power, which that was horrifying and just not great for general players. Oh, the missile pod's over here. We might need to figure out how to put the missile pod on this thing. But in my opinion, and I'm always of this opinion, because I know for Legionary, everyone's like, you need to go Corn Mark. I lean into the Slanesh Mark, because the Slanesh Mark adds 1 inch to your movement, which means technically you have a 9-inch charge instead of an 8-inch charge, which a 9-inch charge kind of equates to a 9.9 charge, because you only have to end your charge within an inch of your opponent, which almost makes 10 inches the threat range on your unit. People do not know how to deal with that. People position in their heads for a 9-inch charge, like the 9-inch lethality range, instead of a 10-inch lethality range. So I've always preferred the +1 to move over anything else, because it's just cool. It's really good. But Intercessor Squad, you can play around. As the more you learn about your opponents, the more you'll realize, oh, I could go this route instead. Like Dueler, I love Dueler, the whole parry ahead of time if you know you're fighting something that wants to be in melee and can actually do damage. Like if you're going into things like, what is it, frickin' Felgor, you try to go Dueler. In my opinion though, now you do want to split, because you can pay a command point to change one of your things, right? So people used to do the durable and I want to say hardy or something. No, it was methodical, durable. So they only had access to Discipline of Iron and Discipline of Resilience. But if you look around, you're going rapid and durable. So Gene Rot Resilience is good. Add 1 to this operative's wounds characteristics. If you think you need that like min-maxiness, you could change from durable to that. Hardy's also really good. Dice result of 5 can be retained as a critical. That's really, really good. But then you have rapid for the extra inch, but then you also have access to aggressive, which that's really good. Perform a charge, its melee weapon gains rending. Getting rending on melee, it's really nice. Dueler as well, if you need more durability in melee, perfect. Perfect. Personally, I like some of the stuff from Tactical Evasion. Like the Stealthy Rule. I love Raider. And I think you can dick around with mobile. Being mobile, reducing the cost of your fallback to 1 action point is actually a lot stronger than you would think. Because if you get put in melee, like if something actually makes it to you and you get put in melee, you just 1 action point away and then double shoot it. Because you still have your full 3 CP. Or your full 3 AP. And you're just like, haha. And you just unload on people. It's great. I think they're good though. I think as a list, I think they're good. Let me see what Chaos Rhinos get, or Chaos Predators get, because I have this missile pack thing that I could put on the gun turret, but I don't think it works for me. Gellerpox are hard. Gellerpox are a hard nut to crack because of those Hulks. The Hulks, those Gellerpox were nerfed into the floor, dude. They were nerfed into the floor. They were so much harder to play against before all the nerfs. I get the nerfs, but I also kind of hate that it removed all their flavor. Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good pickup. I don't think Chaos, the Thousand Sun Predators, or even just, I'm gonna go Chaos Space Marine Predators. I don't think they get a missile pack, right? They don't get like some hunter killer nonsense. Autocannon, las cannon, bolter. Yeah, they don't get a hunter killer. I'm not gonna build this. I'm gonna leave that on the rack. No, yeah, Gellerpox were massively nerfed. Did you deal with the glitch field, the thing that reduces your ranged attacks by 1? That used to be, I want to say 6 inches on the glitchlings and 3 inches on everyone else. Now it's like 1 inch or something, or like 2 inches. It's been massively reduced. Because the whole point was you put your glitchling on the front line in conceal in a place that'll require your opponent to have to like leave cover to get to it. And like come forward so that the Hulk could charge it later. And if not, then the Hulk could come forward and whatever's shooting at the Hulk gets 1 less attack, which that's terrible. Their auras were just too powerful, so they got nerfed. They got a friggin' big ass wrench thrown into their spoke. We gotta figure out how to glue these. I think I'm gonna go las cannons, so worst case scenario, if we can't figure out how to magnetize, I'm just gonna go las cannons. I don't think the heavy bolters are gonna be that useful for me. If I use this in my Thousand Suns army, I have a lot of anti-infantry already. If I use this over in my Soulforged Chaos Space Marine army, I have a ton of anti-infantry anyway. And if I don't, then all I gotta do is go autocannon on the top, because that autocannon on this thing is so powerful. Oh, dude. I love the Hulk ploys, though, because you can pay... If you conserve your command point spending for, like, the bulk of the game, which is why they made the Thrice Cursed only give you 1 extra command point for the entirety of the game now, you basically just save up your command points, and then if you get close to the Lumberghast, like, if you get within charge range of the Lumberghast, he's gonna spend any points he needs to make sure he can, like, go through terrain and people. He's gonna spend the action point on the supercharge, the one that mortals everything he runs into, as that's an enemy. And then he's gonna spend the extra command point on double fight if he gets into multiple fights. Dude, you just annihilate stuff. Oh, dude, I'll talk, though. If you want to learn stuff, that's all. That's what I'm always about. I'm just trying to think of how to kind of balance my list, because right now the trick with 40k is elite and horde, which, I mean, that's basic kill team terminology, and it exists in the 40k realm as well as AOS for the most part. But like, you have to have the ability to have a list in 40k that can be like, oh, I'm going up against horde, I can handle it. Oh, I'm going up against elites, I can handle it. Like, you kind of need that to play out a little bit. That's what we're trying to do here. Kinda. Depends on the map. If it's an open map, I'd probably go the ranged one. Because the ranged one still gets some good weaponry. But, like, if you can pin the Hulks down with just extreme amounts of fire, you don't have to worry about it. Because don't forget, you get the double shoot rule. You get the double shoot ability on your shooters for free. You don't even have to spend command points on it. That's actually huge. And if you can position well enough to just be consistently double shooting, that's like the most damage output you'll get. Legionaries are cool. Look into, I don't know if you have access to the online rules. There's a website that you're going to want ad blocker when you use called Wahapedia. They have the rules for the Heroes team. Games Workshop put out information and a team through their blind box system called Strikeforce Justian. Strikeforce Justian is very close to a more adaptable version of the Legionary, but meant for like the Loyalists. They're pretty easy to use. They're actually one of the easiest. I consider Intercessor's training wheels. I consider Strikeforce Justinian to be absolute tutorial because you can't change anything about them. Let me pull them up and then I'll show them on stream. I might not be able to magnetize these because I'll probably head out soon. Make a short stream today. At least we got the Forge Fiend magnets done. I'm happy about that. No, I'm saying you want ad blocker on it because frickin' he set up the ads on it, but the ads are usually massively intrusive. Hey. So they get all the basic stuff, you know, can't be injured, but this is strategic, so this is everyone. Ignore all APL modifiers, not injured. You can double fight, I think. Awkward fights in combat in which you perform a charge and the roll attack. Oh no, this is reroll. Devastator Doctrine, the roll attack dice step, you get rerolls for shooting or ranged. Tactical, it's just a matter of rerolls and different things here. Transhuman Physiology, the classic, the one that reduces crit to normal, or retaining a normal as a crit save. Wrath of Vengeance, like you just get basic stuff, man. Straight here. You don't have access to any equipment at all because all the equipment's already on, right? So you'll get people like you get two captains. You get Sergeant Marius and Captain Justian. You have to pick which one you want to use, basically, because the way that the list is built, the Strike Force consists of 6 different units, and you have to either select the Captain or the Sergeant operative to gain the leader keyword. I believe you can run both the Captain and the Sergeant, but only one can be the leader because of the whole kill the leader card type situation. And then you just pick 6 of the total units, of which there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you get to kind of pick to not do one or the other. But yeah, he gets a Power Fist, 3+ saves. He's pretty durable at 15 wounds. These guys have partially the Intercessor rules pretty much for some of their health bars. But then you get people like Brother Flavian with his sniper rifle. He's only wounds 12, but I mean, he's got a really, really good sniper rifle. Normally with sniper rifles, you have a regular shot and a silent shot. He gets all silent shots, and you can have a blast 1. You can have a balanced no cover, like low damage 1. Or you can get the Mortal Wounds 3, AP 1, that's really good. That's really good. Then you get the Heavy Bolter guy, which I don't know if you noticed that he has 18 wounds. And he has double shoot built in. Yeah, he does have a 40mm base though. Like notice how 32s, 40s, these are Terminator size bases. Let me see. Let me see if I can find this for you. The thing is, it's not a box like you would think. Space Marine Heroes or something? Or is it 40k Heroes? There's blind box. You might not be able to find the blind box for it. Yeah, it's like Space Marine Heroes is the brand. Space Marine Heroes Justian. Shopping. Apparently they're sold in Target. You might be able to find them just around on the internet, but explicitly you were looking for this box right here. It has the symbol, it has all the pictures of them on the cover. You need to buy a full one of these for about $60 or something to get every single unit supposedly, although I have heard people say that one of the units might not come in the box, like it's one of the 2 liters or something. But what you need to consider is if you're into this game and you kind of want to play these guys, if you can get your hands on 40mm bases, and then you can buy a box of stuff that looks very close, like Captain Justian, if I can find the picture for you. Yeah, it's this guy. I'm pretty sure I've seen this as a solo sold unit, right? Like, this is pretty much just a champion. Marius. That's the heavy bolter guy. He's just a heavy bolter guy. So if you can get a Space Marine tactical box and then get the right size bases, you can just make this team. You don't, like, all you need is, you need to get someone with a bolt sniper rifle. You need a guy with a heavy bolter. You need a guy with just a basic auto bolt rifle, which that comes out of the basic tactical box, but he has to be on a 32, which those come in the basic tactical boxes as well. Thysaur, 32. He is a bolt rifle. That I think also comes out of the tactical boxes, because bolt rifle is the one with the scope. This one's the one with the like barrel, I think, that's fed. Heavy bolt pistol and a chainsword. I mean, you've got those in your intercessor team already at 32mm. Actually, I think that one, this one, and this one you should already have in your intercessors team. So the ones you'd be looking for is a heavy bolter unit, if possible, a sniper unit, if possible, and a Sarge, which, I mean, where is he? Is this him? I think that's the Sarge. I think. I think that's the Sarge. Either way, the Sarge is on a 32. He has a bolt rifle, fists. So, like, that's all you need. Bolt rifle, fist, guys, which I think 32 with bolt rifle, fist, that's already on your, that's already your stuff. So you just need this custom one with the power fist, which, again, you know that unit. I've seen it too. I've seen it on the freaking shelves of stores. You can buy it as a straight up captain or something. You just need to make sure it's on a 40mm. That's it. He has to be on the 40mm. Your sniper has to be on a 40mm. And your heavy bolter has to be on a 40mm. Everyone else can be 32s. I like this team because, again, there is no equipment. Smoke grenade is already pre-existing on Thysaur. All the shooter-based guys already have the built-in double shoot like you get with the intercessors. All the melee guys have built-in double fight like the intercessors. The only guy that has real equipment is Thysaur with the smoke grenade, which you should actually have. I don't know if you have any more intercessors left over. There is an intercessor arm that looks like it has a grenade in it. You could use that on this guy. Just give him a bolt rifle and a grenade. And there you go. You've got yourself a dude. And then the heavy bolter, and that's what it is. This guy has his equipment for his sniper, which negates obscuring, which is one of the strongest sniper abilities in the entire game, is negating obscuring. He also has the camo cloak built in, so he's already got all his equipment. You can't choose this, it's already here. And then yeah, no one else has equipment. And you just get a basic 4 ploys and a basic 3 tacks. Easiest team to play in the entire game, and it has a good bit of flavor. And It has one of the most durable units I've ever seen. This is basically a freaking Hulk right here, and it's your heavy bolter. It is so crazy. That is so crazy to me. Yeah. Just look up Justian. If you don't want to play Legionary, you can look up Justian. There's a lot of people who do play Legionary in a way where they kind of figured out, how do we do this? Ooh, I actually might have an idea. Oh, I don't know if it's gonna work though. We trim off the little nubs. We put a magnet in there. And then we try to like set a magnet dead center in here. We'll probably have to drill through and make it flat, right? That way, when this is together, I can go, all right, let me use this gun, and I can just shove the gun onto this, which this is supposed to be attached like this. So this will just be passively attached like it's supposed to be. And then you just take the gun with its magnet built in. And you just shove it down onto what it needs to be on, and then you just have it set the way you need it to be set. Yeah, man. It's something to think about when you play Kill Team a lot. Like, another situation. Let me show you before we get moving, because I want to go run some errands. Fade. So this is the Legionary. You get 6 units, warriors, bolt pistols, bolt guns. These are all 32 millimeter characters, right? This is actually something I've brought up with a few people who've come in for the streams, and they're like, they want to kind of know what they can do with their teams and stuff. So you get kind of this general thing of like, oh, this guy's got double daggers. This guy looks like he's a caster. You've got icon bearers. This guy has like a really big fist. This guy's got a really big axe. Stuff like that. And you got a couple champion choices, plasma pistols, stuff all over here. All 32 mils, 6 total units, pretty basic layouts of stuff with weapons being like heavy bolters, flamers, plasma, melta, okay? A lot of people who follow, who've gotten into what I make, they started with Death Guard because they actually really like the Death Guard. Guess what? 6 total units, warriors, all on 32 mil bases. You've got gunners that are like plasma, flamer, melta. You got the blight launcher, which looks a little like a heavy bolter. You won't have the plague spewer, but I mean, if you already have a plague spewer unit, you just have it. You got a bunch of different fighters here. One with a giant axe, one with dual daggers. See where we're going? See where we're going with this? We got another place to go real quick. Nemesis Claw. The new ones. So you've got your basic like plasma pistol, chain blade combos. You've got your flamers, your meltas, your plasmas. All on 32 millimeter bases, by the way. Heavy bolters. Do you get this? You can use all of these rules for the Nemesis Claw. You can have one team. For Nemesis Claw, you can have one team that then also works for Legionary, and then the same team works as Death Guard. It's just rules changes. That's all it is. All 32 mil bases. I'm pretty sure. 32s, 32s. No shifts. Nothing goes to 40, nothing goes below. Everything's 32. So you can use Death Guard as Legionary. I mean, you can even just say like they're all Nurgle. You can make it flavorful and be like, yeah, this is a Nurgle Legionary team. And it works. Nurgle is actually good. People are like, dude, Khorne melee? Are you kidding me? You want to go Khorne for melee? If you go Nurgle for melee, your Nurgle characters are ridiculous in melee because they're faster than the Death Guard variant team, but they also can turn on that aura that they get to make people like worse around them for whatever reasons, and it just makes things harder for your opponent. It genuinely just makes things harder for your opponent, and you get the ability to like retain big saves. They're so stupidly hard to kill, Nurgle guys. They're so stupidly hard to kill. And then you just come over here to Nemesis Claw and are like, oh, well, these guys hide in clouds of flies, so they're kind of stealthy, right? And you just go with it. And you've got yourself, for one box, the potential for 3 rule sets. Do that. Approach that. You've already got your intercessors. Why not get like the 3 extra units you need, or possibly 4 extra units you need for your Justian team? Like, you can just have it and float between the two. It's great. It's probably one of my favorite things to think about with 40K or with Kill Team is like, what else can this be? What else can this be played as? It's really cool. But yeah. Thanks for hanging out. We have a little bit to think about with getting this Predator glued together, which is the next thing we need to do in preparation before we do the other half of the paint work. We have to glue all these parts after magnetizing. And then we've got the Mauler Fiend. I think I'm gonna go ahead and assume the glue is fairly dry. So this is single dot. Or is this long dot? Which one's the long one? This is long. I might have to chip away at this. Just to solidify it. But yeah, there you go. Perfect. And then he has the Meltas magnetizable as well, so we'll have to hit those to paint. I'll let the magnet finish drying a bit. And then yeah, we just gotta figure out how to magnetize the rest of this Predator. No, yeah. I think, yeah, because you can run Death Guard up children. Because Slaanesh, Nurgle, Slaanesh are fine together. Tzeentch and Nurgle hate each other. Khorne and Slaanesh hate each other. Oh, he'll be fun. My Forge Fiends look great. And he's going to be basically the same way. I'm going to make him purple to blue, though. The Forge Fiends are burgundy to blue. He's going to go purple to blue. By next time we stream, the Venom Crawlers should have their bases dry as well. And I do really want to finish those. We've got a few steps to take, including basing the colors on them, on the like ground, and then creating a slurry of fluorescent color and resin matte medium, like non-resin resin kind of stuff. And then we're going to put it in a dripper bottle and try to drip it off the back of them to look like there's pools of weird magical chemicals underneath them. That'll be kind of fun. We got a lot of work to do, man. That's why it's Paint-Ageddon. We've got 4 obliterators I need to paint, as well as a bunch of parts that I need to magnetize and paint for my knights. All right, well, I gotta get moving. I gotta mow a yard and then record audio for a video. It's not gonna be as in-depth, like visually, as a video. I am gonna show some like aspects during the video of like certain things, but we're just gonna quickly go over the data slate for Kill Team, just to try to get that stuff together. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Thanks for chilling. I gotta get moving though. Till maybe tomorrow, but probably Thursday. Later.